Hi, welcome to Bookie. Today we will unlock the book The Anxiety and Phobia Workbook. Before we start, have you ever asked the question, do I feel anxious today? You might think that the answer is so obvious that it may as well be considered a fact of life. Who doesn't experience anxiety in modern society? One should remember that anxiety appears at different levels of intensity. Also, anxiety comes to us in various forms which can be as pervasive as air. Have you ever been in a workplace situation like the following? Whenever you are faced with a new task given by your superiors, even if you have done all the preparatory work and should therefore be confident, you find yourself feeling nervous as you prepare to present your project. On the day of the meeting, as soon as you picture giving your presentation to your superiors and colleagues, you have symptoms of sweating, rapid heartbeat, and the inability to even speak in complete sentences. If you felt this way once or twice, it might just mean that you were nervous. But if you're in a similar situation every time, or you even want to quit your job because of this uncontrollable anxiety, then you may be suffering from social phobia, which is one form of an anxiety disorder. Nowadays, anxiety disorders are a common mental condition. There are many types of anxiety disorders, including social phobia, which is universal, panic disorder in which one feels short of breath or even smothered for seemingly no reason, agoraphobia in which one feels scared and helpless in crowded public places such as department stores, and obsessive-compulsive disorder in which one may wash one's hands repeatedly to avoid contamination. In the book The Anxiety and Phobia Workbook, the author elaborated on the causes and different types of anxiety disorders. He also covered ways to deal with them, with the aim of helping us fully understand anxiety and get rid of it as soon as possible. Celebrating 30 years as a classic in its field, this book ranks first among the 100 best-selling books on anxiety treatment in the world. It has sold over 1 million copies and has helped millions of readers around the world. Bourne, the author of this book, graduated from the University of Chicago. He is a doctor of psychology specializing in the treatment of anxiety disorders and related issues. As a leading psychologist in the study of anxiety disorders, he once served as the director of the Anxiety and Treatment Center in San Jose and Santa Rosa, California. In this book, The Anxiety and Phobia Workbook, he details various techniques for coping with anxiety disorders and brings hope to those who suffer from anxiety disorders around the world. If you or your friends and relatives are suffering from anxiety disorders, you can come with us as we dive into this classic book on treating anxiety disorders. Next, we will introduce the 3 key sections of this book. Part 1, about anxiety disorders. Part 2, causes of anxiety disorders. Part 3, getting rid of anxiety disorders. First, let's look at Part 1 about anxiety disorders. To better deal with the negative effects of anxiety disorders, we need to understand what they are. Anxiety can sometimes appear as very similar to fear, both of which cause us to feel a great deal of pressure. But they are entirely different. When you are afraid, your fear is directed towards a concrete object or situation. Whereas when you experience anxiety, you often can't specify what you're anxious about, nor can you find a specific trigger, because the focus of anxiety is more internal than external. You may be anxious about losing control of a certain situation or worry that something bad will happen for no reason. For example, a middle school student is particularly concerned about his academic performance. He gets a good score on every test. But as the year progresses, the student finds it harder to get a high score on the exams, while at the same time his desire for a high score gets stronger. So he wallows in deep anxiety every day, and he constantly studies in preparation for the final exam. He starts to feel nervous and irritable. He looks forward to the exams, but as the date approaches, he gets uneasy. This situation is a typical example of anxiety. But fear is different. The exam goes smoothly at the beginning and it seems as though the student knows the answer to almost every question. The student knows that after he completes the remaining questions he can